And when I saw that Phillies lineup released yesterday, I'm like, Rob Thomson, you wrote a good lineup. What could possibly go wrong? And then he puts Mr. Trevor, don't call me Trevor Hoffman because I'm not Trevor Hoffman, into the game in the seventh inning. The Phillies below a huge opportunity last night. We're going to talk about it. We're also going to talk Sixers, more rumors. The draft is right around the corner. We're less than 2 days away. So we got lots to talk about today. Trending in the AM starts in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. We're live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. You know the drill. Like, share, retweet, follow, subscribe. Turn the notifications on. Shout it from the rooftops. Trending in the AM. The number one daily YouTube Philadelphia sports show and the first daily YouTube show on Philly sports here in the area. And it's the only sports show in the Philadelphia area, YouTube, radio, TV, anywhere, where your opinions actually matter. I didn't even put that in the comments section today. Your opinions actually matter. It's not there for me to pop up to promote it, but your opinions do matter. And we are talking a tough game one loss versus the Braves and why. Rob Thomson, we are going to dive into. We are going to get back into the Paul Goldschmidt and what this team really needs. And then, of course, obviously, we will touch on Sixers, Tobias rumors. Paul George, he might be available in a trade. Got lots. But we definitely need to ring the bell more than 2 times to beat the Braves, so we are going to get into that. Douglas checking in already. Whatever happened to complete games? Well, I don't know what happened to complete games, man. Complete games just don't happen anymore. I mean, I won't complain. I mean, Ranger Suarez last night had about 100 pitches through 6. There's no way he was going to throw 150 or anything like that. But you definitely could have let him go out there and start the 7th inning if your best option was, what is his first name? I don't even know what Hoffman's first name is. It's not Trevor Hoffman. I know that. Jeff Hoffman. Jeff Hoffman in the 7th inning last night, man, that was just not a good decision on the Phillies' part there, on Rob Thomson's part to go with him in the 7th inning. Obviously, hindsight's 2020 there. But I always get crushed on this show and on Twitter because I'm super uber critical of Rob Thomson. I'm always called a Rob Thomson hater, so to say. And there might be a little bit of hate. I stick to my guns. I made points and opinions known that I didn't think he was a good manager last year. He got a good run in the playoffs. I said he deserved to be the Phillies manager this year, but I wouldn't have given him the job. I said it that he was struggling early this year, that he's proving why he's been a bench. Y'all know the story. I'm not a Rob Thomson fan. It's fine. But I give credit where credit's due. And he makes a lot of weird decisions throughout the course of a season, last year and this year. And it's just like these decisions on paper don't make sense. But then they work out 9 times out of 10. Like last night, as soon as Hoffman was brought in the 7th inning, before he gave up the runs, before he blew the game, every single person is sitting there thinking, it's the 7th inning. It's a 1-1 game against the Braves. You've got a fully rested bullpen. And Hoffman's your choice? Now, I know Hoffman has had a solid run with the Phillies in middle relief, but you got Soto, who's lights out right now, hasn't pitched in a few days. You got Craig Kimbrell. You got Jose Alvarado. You got Junior Marte, who's pitching really bad, or pitching really well since he got demoted because he was pitching bad, then called up. He's been pitching really well. You got 4 guys better suited for that 7th inning role. You got 3 innings, 9 outs to get, and you go to your 5th or 6th inning guy, a guy you go to when the team is down, not in a clutch, huge moment in a big series, the start of a big series, and you go to Hoffman. Like, it just made no sense. What is up, man, Chatter? How you doing? We will get into Sixers talk. We will get into NBA talk for sure, but we got to talk a little Phillies. But it also brings in yesterday's conversation of trades and whatnot, and who you would trade, why, when, where, etc. But you look at last night's Phillies game, and Rob Thomson did what we expect or want him to do finally with the lineup. I mean, the lineup he put out last night, he had Schwarber leading off, Turner in the 2-0, Casty, Harper, Realmuto 3-4-5, Stott 6, Bohm 7, Clemens 8, Marsh 9. He didn't have Harrison in there. He didn't have, Guthrie got demoted, or designated. Like, he actually went with a solid lineup, something that I couldn't complain. But I joked, as soon as he puts out a good lineup, the lineup's going to go stone cold. You want me to defend Zion Williamson? Well, luckily that Chiquita, whoever that girl is, it's causing all this rigmarole for Zion. Her Twitter account got suspended yesterday. I know that much. The Zion stuff is insane, chatter. Like, I don't even know how to dissect it fully, because it's like, he's a kid. He's got a lot of money. And in this day and age of social media, these kind of things are going to happen. Now, I hope some of the information that she's saying is false. I hope she's just trying to get her payday, because then that would mean Zion's not a awful person or anything. He's just a kid having a good time. And she is just not happy. She probably got rejected in some form, and she is not happy with it. So, I don't want Zion Williamson on the Sixers because he's a bad fit, but I hope Zion Williamson, the basketball player, gets into a good situation and actually could stay healthy, because health is such a big issue with Zion Williamson for sure. But back to the Phillies. Rob Thomson actually builds a solid, you cannot complain about it lineup. Yet they draw 2 runs. And, yes, they were going up against Spencer Strider, one of the best pitchers in baseball, without a shadow of a doubt. And he was lights out, ready for the big moment yesterday. But the Phillies went 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position. They did get 11 hits. They did draw a walk. So they had 13 runners on. 12 of them got into scoring position. They went 1 for 12. 0 for 1 Clemens, 0 for 2 Turner, 0 for 2 Schwarber, 0 for 1 Realmuto, 0 for 1 Stott, 0 for 2 Bohm. Casty got the 1 hit and drove in one of the runs. But I got to backtrack. Kyle Schwarber 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position. He goes 2 for 5 last night. But yet, all I want to talk about is why the hell, whatever it was, the 7th or the 8th inning, Kyle Schwarber, who's got 20 home runs on the season, red hot in June again. He's got 7 home runs. He's got his average from 163 up to 191. And Kyle Schwarber's going to lay down a bunt? What? The slowest man on the team is going to lay down a bunt in that situation? I believe there was runners on base at that position. And you're going to lay down a bunt? Kyle Schwarber, you don't get paid to lay down bunts, especially when there's runners in scoring position. You get paid to mash the ball. Plus, your first 2 at-bats in the game, you crushed the ball. You ripped the ball. You were seeing the ball well last night. And you're going to lay down a bunt? That's just a fundamental mistake. That's a mental error. That's Rob Thomson not having these guys ready to roll the right way. It's good to see that Buffalo was watching a little Phillies Braves last night. Was it a national game? Was it on ESPN? I mean, I watch the local broadcast whenever they're on local broadcasts, because I actually thoroughly enjoy Tom McCarthy and whoever he's with. I know Phillies fans crush either John Kruk or Ben Davis or Ricky Botel, whoever's in the booth, Ruben Amaro, whoever's in the booth with, Tom McCarthy. Everybody's got their opinion. I like them all. I think all the duos bring something to the table and do something important or do something well. Some team won like in the last few days with tons of bunts. But you don't bunt when you're the power hitter of this team. When you're leading the team in home runs, when you're one of the biggest power hitters in baseball, you got runners in scoring position. You don't drop a bunt. You just don't. It doesn't make sense. But on the flip side, onto Rob Thomson started the game doing everything right. Then this team made mistakes. And honestly, I'm not even overly upset that they only scored 2 runs last night. You're going up against Spencer Strider. You had his number in the playoffs last year, one of the best pitchers in the game. He had this start circled on his calendar that there was that he needed his revenge. Like he probably hoped Rhys Hoskins wasn't hurt. You know what I mean? Like he had this circled. He wanted his revenge in this game. Okay? And this was a big moment for Spencer Strider. And the offense came up small. And to an extent, I can almost accept it, because you're going up against a great pitcher, a revenge moment, and a great team. But what I can't accept is the fundamental mistakes like the bunt there. What is up, Eric? We got a little baseball on the agenda here, but it does lead back into yesterday's conversation about trades. And you know what? I do want to get to Rob Thomson's poor usage of the bullpen again in a few minutes. But again, during yesterday's show, we spoke about it. And today, and last night, so we talked about it yesterday. During the day, I got into it on Twitter with people. And then last night's game and this morning, I'm just thinking again how Paul Goldschmidt in this Phillies lineup would mean so much more. I know we meet pitching, and we're going to get into what we need pitching-wise in a few minutes. But, man, like you see the flaws, the fundamental flaws of this offense. Bryce Harper just isn't the same. There's no power. Like, yeah, him being back is better than the alternative at DH, but he's not fully healthy yet. And we're relying on him massively. That's a problem. Trey Turner's started to turn a corner, but still not good enough yet. Like, it's not fully turned. Kyle Schwarber's only good 1 month of the year. You still got Cody Clemens, Roger Clemens' son, in the lineup, and he's done admirable. But he's not a great baseball player. He's a good, bench piece. You go add Paul Goldschmidt, take Cody Clemens out of this lineup, and then all of a sudden, holy shit, this lineup is insanely different. And if it means I've got to trade Mick Abel, our number 2 prospect, if it means I've got to trade whoever our top hitting prospect is in the minors, I'm going out and getting Paul Goldschmidt. I don't care that he's 36 years old. He was the MVP of baseball last year at 35. He's not the MVP this year, but he's still putting up all-star level numbers. He's still one of the top. He would literally rank in the top 3 of every single offensive statistic category on the Phillies if he was on this team right now. And I'm going to go do it because you know what? This Phillies team, for as much as I've crapped on them this year, is still a good team. There still is a chance that this team makes another playoff run. But you got to be prepared when you get to the playoffs that you can compete. You're going to face Spencer Strider again in the playoffs. You're going to fence other guys on his level, if not better than him, in the playoffs. So you can never have too much offense. I'm always here to teach, man. I am. And it's okay that it's baseball. I saw, on a side note, I left my notes at work last night. Or I had a notepad. I was taking notes for today's show. And I didn't even know because I don't listen to the local radio, Eric. Mad Chatter, you're not Philly, so you're not listening to Philly radio. But, Eric, I don't listen to the local radio channels. I don't listen to WIP or The Fanatic. I listen to the best content creators, and I work on finding ways to improve my show. But I'm on Twitter all the time. So I saw somebody crushing, I believe it was WIP yesterday, because they were doing like a power rankings of the top 10 athletes in Philadelphia at the moment, taking their play on the field or court, their popularity, their off the court stuff, their charity, taking all encompass of everything. And they were doing their top 10 list. And somebody was crushing it, like, this is a stupid idea, stupid topic, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know what? It's the off season right now. There is so little to talk about outside of baseball. Football training camp is still about, what's today, the 21st? Today's the first day of summer. Officially the first day of summer. So happy first day of summer to all you summer freaks like me that love the summer, love the heat, love the sun. I love summer. So happy first day of summer to you guys today. But it's the summer. We're still a month out from training camp beginning. The NBA season's over. The draft is here, but the Sixers have no draft picks. The Flyers season's over, and it's going to be a while till we see anything else happening with the Flyers. Like, there's 2 things to talk about. The Phillies and what if scenarios or lists or rankings, and that's it. So I thought it was a good, topic of conversation. Then you get the King, Howard Eskin, out there saying Joel Embiid's not one of the top 5, athletes in Philly right now. That's just clickbait trash talk right there because of his obvious hate for the Sixers. But it's either Phillies baseball right now with a smidge of football and basketball mixed in, or it's random lists and ideas. And I do have some topics, and random things to talk about. But we got to spend a little time on baseball. And tomorrow's going to be baseball too. Regina Ham, she's a writer for the Philadelphia Sports Network, one of the lead writers. She is going to be on the show tomorrow to help me talk Phillies as well. Yeah, anti-blackmail, of course. I know you're messing with me. I do, but I think it's but your jokes brought that, like, reminded me, because I didn't have my notes I took from yesterday afternoon at the shop to remind me that you either have to get creative, and I think just the topic of getting creative at this time of the year is something to talk about, because there's almost only so much we could talk about on a daily basis. It is fully, like, I cannot wait with the new fam that we've been growing here on Philadelphia Sports Network, with Trending in the AM, all the new listeners, all the new supporters of this show out there. Like, right now, we got 7 likes on this video. We might get to 9, 10, 11 likes today. But when football season starts back up, that's going to be 20, 30 likes, because there's so many of you tuning in when it's football talk. But the fact that, I'm against the radio stations and how they do their business sometimes. Like, I give them credit for coming up with random sports talk topics, because you got to have something creative to talk about. Like, I don't like them, but they do exactly what I do, talk it every single day. I'm not out here doing one podcast a week, one podcast a month, where I can just recap everything that's happened over a course of 7, 8, 10, 12, 15 days. I'm talking every day. So I give them credit for coming up. So anybody out there crushing WIP for their list that they created yesterday, I think it's a baseless thing. But back to this Phillies. Let's teach. Let's preach. And again, if you're watching, make sure you're liking this video, man. I don't know. What is up, my man, Mitch? Good morning. We're talking Phillies right now. We'll get to the Sixers in a little bit. I was thinking yesterday, the guys that have 4-hour sports shows in Buffalo right now. Yeah, it's a nightmare. I mean, the only difference between a radio station and this, I don't know about in Buffalo, but in Philly, the main 2 sports talk radio stations, they got 10 callers on hold waiting to talk. So you're just rapid fire. It's not like I'm just talking to, like, right now there's 7 of you watching on YouTube. I'm talking to 7 of you right now. And you guys are putting in comments here, mostly you, chatter. But most of it's me talking. That's tough for an hour. But for 4 hours, if I had a phone board here with phone calls coming in, it would be a little easier, because I would just, a lot of the time wouldn't be me talking, it'd be you guys talking. And honestly, if I was technically inclined, there is a way to take phone calls through this cheap-ass soundboard. I even created a phone number. I just don't know how to work it. So we don't do that. But yeah, back to the Phillies. So I think last night proves that there is an extreme need for the Phillies to go. Like, they are actually good enough. They might not catch the Braves. They've now fallen to 9 games out of division lead. But they're right there in the wild card hunt. And honestly, with the way they're turning things around, they're going to probably make the wild card again this year. If I'm the Phillies, I'm going all in. You proved last year that you could beat these teams in the playoffs. I'm going all in. I'm going out and getting Paul Goldschmidt. I don't care what it takes. As long as it's not Andrew Painter, because Andrew Painter's part 2. I'm going all in and getting me Paul Goldschmidt or someone similar that can come in and play first base or third, and you move Bohm to first full time. Paul Goldschmidt's under contract next year too. So you're not just trading your prospects for a half-a-year rental. You're trading them for a year and a half. And $22 million for an MVP in baseball terms, cheap as hell. So I'm going all in. I'm getting Paul Goldschmidt. And then all of a sudden, you could put Paul Goldschmidt, looking at last night's lineup, you could put him in the 3-hole. You could put him in the 4-hole. You could put him in the 5-hole. You could do whatever you want. You could put him anywhere there in the lineup. And all of a sudden, JT's hitting in the 6-hole. Bryson Stott's in the 7-hole. Bohm is in your 8-hole. Holy crap. This lineup is insane then. So the question is, why are so many people against trading a prospect that should be on this team right now, because we have no 5th starter that's not ready yet, even though he should be ready? Just trade him. We got a bunch of up-and-coming prospects, hitting prospects in the minors right now. But you got Harper under contract for how long? Trey Turner under contract for how long? It's not like the pitching staff where Nola's a free agent after this year and Zach Wheeler's got 1 year left on his deal. Like, a majority of our offense right now is locked under contract for a long time. You got Cody Clemens, and you got Amundo Sosa, and you still got some question marks on Brandon Marsh. Outside of that, out of our 10 or 11 main regular players, everybody else is locked in. So you don't need these these 21-year-old hitting prospects. You're going to keep them in the minors for 5 more years? 4 more years? Probably not. Just go ahead and move them and continue to draft well. Go out and get Paul Goldschmidt and get him here into Philly, get him into this lineup, and give yourself the best chance to compete against the Spencer Striders of the world in the playoffs. And making those moves, making those bold moves, is what wins you a championship. You know, we'll get into the Sixers and the Tyrese Maxey trade conversation again in a little bit. But anybody that's scared to trade Mick Abel or Andrew Painter or McGreary or Rojas or whoever you want to say, because they're the future of this team. Well, the future is now. You've invested $240 million now. You're this close last year to winning a World Series. You're on the same track as last year to make another run in the playoffs to another World Series. On paper, you got one of the best offenses. Make it the best offense by go getting the best offensive production kind of guy available on the market right now. It's going to cost you several prospects to get him. It doesn't have to cost you Andrew Painter, but it is going to cost you several. But you go get him right now. And anybody says, well, if you say that you don't know baseball, stop. This is what contending teams do to put them over the edge. You go out there and get it. There's an article on Phillies Nation's website, Destiny Lugardo. I'm not sure how to say her name exactly. It was a really interesting article because it talked about pitching. And we look at last night's pitching. Tell me Ranger Suarez isn't the best pitcher on the Phillies. And I'll tell you, I don't know what you're talking. If you disagree with me, I don't know what you're thinking. But he's the best pitcher on the Phillies right now. Most consistent. He got called up a little sooner than he needed to. He struggled at first, his first couple outings. But now that he's settled in, again, Ranger Suarez is pitching better than anybody, better than Zach Wheeler, better than Taijuan Walker, who's been really well. Obviously, Aaron Nola is an issue. And I didn't have time to bring it up before the show, so I could read it verbatim. But I'm going to paraphrase. And she brought up an interesting thing because we all talk about we need a fifth starter. And I've already been talking about it for a few days that we don't need a fifth starter. We need a top-flight starter because Aaron Nola is struggling. And it's not been 2 outings. It's been the entire season. He's had like 2 good starts the entire year. We need to upgrade the top end of our rotation, not the back end. And there's a lot of teams that don't have a fifth starter. There's a lot of teams that, are going through the same thing as we are, looking for the back end of the rotation. But if you think about it, and she goes into detail about this and puts a lot of great stats behind it. But we traded, our young prospect, not prospect, but borderline major leaguer, Mickey Moniak, who had a lot of hype and potential, #1 overall pick years ago in the draft, for a rental in Noah Syndergaard last year. Excuse me. We gave up on a guy in Mickey Moniak for a rental. Now, Noah Syndergaard last year, he did okay. He pitched a few games okay for us. Come playoff time, he was another bullpen. Like, is it worth risking prospects for a fifth guy that you could just piece it together? And honestly, outside of last night, because you put your middle guys in clutch moments in the 7th and 8th inning, we're pretty deep in the bullpen. You could get by with Chris Sanchez, Matt Strahm, and whatever else, once every 5th day. But what you can't get by with is, come playoff time, Aaron Nola being your first or second starter. And there's no way you're going to bench Aaron Nola in the playoffs. And you only use the 4 starter a few times, rarely in the playoffs. So what do you got to do? You've got to upgrade Aaron Nola. Now, I'm not saying trade Aaron Nola per se. But honestly, if Ohtani was available and you trade Painter and they need somebody to fill his innings, sure, I'll dump Aaron Nola for that. But you need to upgrade the top end because right now when you go into the playoffs, you're going with Zach Wheeler and Ranger Suarez 1-2. And then you got Walker, who's been inconsistently good lately, but you don't know when that's going to fall off. And Aaron Nola, who's just been atrocious. So the fifth starter thing is not as important. Eric, let's see what you said here. I'm sorry, I missed this. I'm not afraid to trade Maxey, but it better be to make us better than Boston or Miami. We're going to get into that because I got another idea. On a Maxey trade, and who would you trade for? That we'll bring up in a minute or two here. But I'm going to go out there. If Andrew Painter doesn't get traded and he's ready to be the fifth starter by the end of the year, great. If not, whatever. But I don't want to be going into the playoffs with Aaron Nola being forced to start with this Aaron Nola out there. The question is, can Aaron Nola turn it around? And I don't know if that he can. He's inconsistent. He's worried about that contract. He's costing himself lots of money right now. Aaron Nola almost needs to go to get traded, go to a lesser situation where he could just pitch stress-free for a little while. Right now, he's still got that contract lingering over his head. But honestly, like last night's loss to the Braves, you come into the series, you're red hot, but the Braves are red hot too. You got to know. I mean, you weren't going to sweep the Braves. You were going to struggle to win 2 out of 3. Citizen Bank Park last night, packed, 38,000 fans screaming. And honestly, and I got to text my man Jeff Warren from the Philadelphia Sports Table podcast, because I know he was there last night. And he was sitting there talking, or he's posting pictures from the game. And I see Hoffman, not Trevor, Hall of Famer Hoffman, coming in the 7th inning of a key game, and he gives up that first run. You just hear the energy just zapped right out of that park. And I'm sure they're going to be packed tonight and tomorrow, for this series there. But, man, the energy. And the thing is, like, I want to crush Rob Thomson. I do, because it was an awful decision. It's just how many times the law of averages, balance out. Like, he's made so many questionable decisions just like that work out. Like, we're all so happy about his lineup he put out there last night. His lineup was what it should be every night. And I said it before the game. He actually made the right decision, and I knew it wasn't going to work out because that's just the luck of the draw. Tonight, we'll probably see Josh Harrison in there and Christian Pache in there or something like that. It's going to be something completely opposite tonight, just because that's what he does. But I can't crush him because these weird, bold decisions that he makes 8 out of 10 times work out. So Hoffman didn't work out. It shouldn't have been him. It should have been Soto, in my opinion, or maybe Alvarado in that 7th inning. I don't remember who came up to bat. I know Acuna did have an at-bat, but I think it was later in the inning. I'm trying to think who he faced to start. But it would have been either Alvarado or Soto in that situation. And in the 8th inning, it would have been, again, Alvarado or Soto, whoever else didn't pitch the 7th. And then the 9th inning would have been Kimbrel. See, Rob Thomson is not like Doc Rivers. I get what I'm saying and how you would think that. He is super stubborn. He is super stubborn like Doc Rivers, Rob Thomson is. And he thinks he's right all the time. But and he refuses to be committed to his young players. So just think of it this way, Eric. Bryson Stott, the Phillies' second baseman, is 8th or 9th in Major League Baseball in hits this year. But yet he doesn't play every single day. Sometimes we got to get Josh Harrison to start, occasionally. He might have the 8th most hits in baseball, but we're not going to start him against this tough left-handed pitcher today. Like, that's Rob Thomson, and Doc Rivers are the same. It's the same reason Paul Reed or Shake Milton rumor he's going to be leaving, which obviously that's going to happen. Doc Rivers, like the difference between Rob Thomson and Doc Rivers is Rob Thompson's been a career bench coach and shouldn't even be the manager right now. He's just randomly winging it. Doc Rivers is supposedly one of the best coaches of all time, according to that NBA list a year or so ago that came out. So that's the difference there between the two of them. But I get how what I'm saying sounds like him. But again, when I saw that Bryson Stott was like 8th or 9th in Major League Baseball in hits on the season, like, I'm like, why is this guy not playing every day? He obviously can hit against anybody, but yet he's benched 5-6 times in the first 2 months because it's a tough lefty. We got to give him a break, Stop. Don't outthink it, Rob Thomson. But again, him outthinking it or overthinking it has worked 8 out of every 10 times. It just didn't last night in a key moment, in a huge series. And that's the problem. Hell, the Phillies would have been better off. Ranger Suarez only had 99 pitches at the start, after 6 innings. He could get to 110. You could have rolled him out there for 1 or 2 batters of the 7th inning, see how it goes, and then make a decision. If you get somebody on base and you bring in Alvarado in that high leverage situation, there's a lot of things Rob Thomson could have done differently last night. But again, last night's the start, and tonight we'll see what happens tonight. I'm going to pull up tonight's pitching matchup here in a second. Last night, again, reason to prove that we are still, for as good as we are, or potentially can be, this team still is missing that Paul Goldschmidt. It's still missing another top flight starter. Even with the injuries in our bullpen, we still have a really solid bullpen. When was the last time the Phillies could say that the bullpen is in good shape? Who Phillies' best hitter for homers? Well, Kyle Schwarber has 20 home runs on the season. He had 48 or 49 last year. He's obviously a home run masher. Bryce Harper hits a lot of home runs, but he's only got 3 on the season. He's only played 56 games, but I just think Bryce Harper's not fully recovered from his, he's the fastest guy to ever come back in baseball from Tommy John surgery, ever, and step back on the field. And he said in an interview yesterday that he's not ready to play the field. He's a long way off. So people saying that he could play first base, again, rushing him back to play first base or trading for Paul Goldschmidt. I just don't understand why there's so many people against trading Mick Abel and Rojas and McGreary or whoever for the reigning MVP. Like, it just makes no sense to me. And I know some people out there, some of the, I'm smarter than you type people out there will say, I don't know baseball. Well, I know what winning looks like. And adding Paul Goldschmidt to this lineup makes him a more intimidating. You got to think, in all sports, whether it's basketball, baseball, football, hockey, soccer, if you put an intimidating lineup out there, you add Paul Goldschmidt to this lineup that's already pretty deep. All of a sudden, that opposing pitcher has one more thing to think about, one more player to worry about. I mean, there's something to that. The fear a lineup puts into a pitcher, the mental fear before a game starts. That's why going out there and trading Tyrese Maxey for who I'm going to talk about. I've already talked about some other ones. Like, put the fear of God into your opposing teams. Put the fear of God into the opposing conference. I've built a championship team to win right now. Let's make it even better. Dave Dombrowski's known. It's almost like Dave Dombrowski's scared to make a big move. Like, because his reputation, Dave Dombrowski, is just like Daryl Morey. Make big trades. Dave Dombrowski, though, won World Series and brought multiple franchises to the World Series. I think the Phillies are the 3rd or 4th team that he's built that have gone to a World Series. Daryl Morey hasn't gotten to an NBA Finals yet. Some will say it's because of Chris Paul getting hurt and they ran into the OKC. Whatever. Excuses. But not Oklahoma City. They ran to Golden State with Durant and Curry and all. But like Dave Dombrowski's almost like scared because his reputation is only on the big trades and he's not doing it. But make the big bold move. Like, you've got a World Series contending team. Make the big bold move now. And you're putting the fear of God into the other pitchers. You talk soccer and I do once in a rare blue moon bring my man El Parcero on this show to talk Philadelphia Union and the MLS, but very rarely. Very rarely. There is, I will say, man, Chatter, if you've never been to an MLS game, and I don't know if Buffalo is what team would be closest to you in Buffalo. Let me tell you something. I've been to a few Philadelphia Union games. It's entertaining as hell. Like, I would never turn it on the TV to watch. Well, they're not even on TV. You got to have Apple or Amazon, or they're on some streaming service now only. So it makes me watch them even less. But going to a live Philadelphia Union game in person, sitting around it, dude, it's entertaining as hell. It really, really is. Philly's probably now. There's some teams in New York. I think New York's got 2 MLS franchises right now. So whatever, it is what it is. If what's his name? I don't know. Was it Messi or Ronaldo or David Beckham maybe from coming back again? Some big international players rumored to be going to the MLS. If that happens, I'll probably bring on Parcero to talk it for 15 minutes because it'll be big for the league and stuff like that. But anyway, back to the Phillies. Go all in. Make the bold move. And that brings me in transitions to Sixers. So if you're back now for the Sixers part of the conversation, make sure you like and share this video and do what you got to do to help grow this show, this family, this channel. I don't need the $500 super chat drop. I just need 500 likes on this video. That's what I need. So I saw something this morning. I didn't know. I was going to start with some Tobias Harris trade rumors. I was going to mention the Shake Milton probably leaving, which is like the dumbest, thing in the world because People are all, oh no, Shake Milton, he's going to leave. No shit, he's going to leave. Shake Milton is literally like the fourth guard, and you don't even have good guards ahead of him, and he barely sees the court. He's obviously going to get paid somewhere to go and get more minutes somewhere else, and more power to him. If he decides to stay here to continue to be the fourth guard, fifth guard, to play every other day, you got to question him about that. He was obviously going elsewhere. So I didn't even know how I can get into it. And Tobias, we'll get back to Tobias in a second. But I saw something floating around Twitter this morning. A rumor that a guy is going to maybe get moved. Superstar, maybe get moved. And then my buddy Scotty, who's from DSM Media, who has been on this show with me before, commented on it about his fit with the Sixers. And the only way you would get this deal done is if you include Tyrese Maxey. Now, I don't know. I went to the NBA trade machine to see the contracts, to see the dollar amounts. Don't let the ladies tape you. Yeah. My life was so much easier in college and my youth with no social media, no video cameras on phones and stuff. Dude, I'm so glad there's not. I lived in I grew up in the late 90s, early 2000s. There's no proof of anything I did in college. The only proof that I went to college, is it hanging? No, I don't have my diploma hanging on the wall in here anymore. I used to have it framed and hanging up. The only proof that I even went to college is that diploma. And that's good that way. But Sixers fans, we need an athletic wing player. We need a guy that could play defense and be a great perimeter defender. We need a guy that could take clutch shots in big moments. All the rumors are pointing that James Harden's going to be back. I mean, the rumors are really picking up steam. There was a report last night, I think Philly Voice or some big website reported out there that he's going to come back, not just come back, but on a team-friendly deal. What is a team-friendly deal for James Harden? We'll get into that in a minute. But if you got James Harden back and you've still got Joel Embiid, you got new coach Nick Nurse, what would you feel about Paul George? He's a perfect small forward that could just sit there, play great perimeter defense, still in his age. What's he, like 33, I think? Paul George plays great defense, still can get you 20-plus points a game, still grabs rebounds, can still distribute, still plays great defense. He's been injured a lot the last 2 or so years. 2-3 years. But he's not far removed from being one of the best players in the game. And in a situation with Philly, with Harden and Embiid, a little less pressure on him to be the dominant force, because Kawhi Leonard's missed so much time in LA that he's had to step up his game even more and play through some things that wear him out by the end of the year. In this situation, would you trade? You would have to match contract, so this would mean no trading Tobias Harris for depth. You would have to trade Tobias Harris to make the salaries work. Now, I checked Tobias Harris and Springer. I think you could do Tobias Harris and PJ Tucker. Tobias Harris and a lot works dollar-wise. But you have no draft picks to attach to it. So the Clippers, trying to refresh around Kawhi Leonard, would want Tyrese Maxey in that deal. So the question is, would you trade Tyrese Maxey for Paul George? Now, I literally just started thinking about this about 8:10 this morning. You know, we start the show at 8:30, so I haven't dove deep into it. But on paper, surfacely speaking, George, Harden, and Embiid is better than Harden, Maxey, Embiid for next season. Next season. We're not talking for the next 5 years. Next season. That is a better team. So I say, will you risk the future of Tyrese Maxey? Again, we keep talking about Tyrese Maxey, that he is guaranteed to be this MVP caliber player for the next 10 years. We don't really know what his ceiling is. We think Nick Nurse is going to unlock this new level of Tyrese Maxey. We don't know. I, on the other hand, am a guy that wants titles. That's all I want is NBA titles, World Series championships, Super Bowls. I want titles. I am willing. I know yesterday everyone's like, no way. I sell my soul to get another championship in Philly. I was 2 years old the last time the Sixers won an NBA championship. PJ Tucker's got 2 years, $10 million a year left on his contract because he signed a 3-year, $30-ish million deal last year. So he's got 2 years left on his deal. Played well in the playoffs. was kind of hit or miss most of the regular season. Pretty much a bad fit on this team until the playoffs last year. So I'm going to keep bringing it up now. Nobody liked the idea of trading for Kawhi Leonard, so I'm suggesting Paul George. All right, so let's see here. What up, Phil? Not a chance in hell do I do that trade. It's a better team if all three play together 3/4 of the season playoffs, not guaranteed. And that's fire. Anthony, thank you for your comment. I greatly appreciate it. Paul George has missed a lot of time, just like Joel Embiid, just like James Harden, just like Bradley Beal, just like Kawhi Leonard. So you're taking a huge risk. But I'm just saying, answer this question for me, Anthony. Next year, just next year, not the next 5 years, next year, if you get them to play and stay healthy, is a George, Harden, Embiid trio better than a Harden, Embiid, Maxey trio just for next year? And I think the answer, in my opinion, is no, it's not a better trio next year. Big picture, it's awful. But if I got myself, again, yesterday's show, Anthony's topic was, would you trade X star for Y player if it gave you a 98% chance of winning a title in any sport? And I think that there is a scenario where we have a really damn good chance, as long as they're healthy by the playoffs, of winning an NBA championship if those are your three. If all healthy, yes, but that's a big... So here's the thing, Anthony, and this is something I've been preaching a lot on this show lately with the Sixers, that I'm over. Now that Joel Embiid got his MVP, I'm over load management. I don't care about load management. I don't care if my stars play 80 games, 70 games, 55 games. I don't care. As long as they have enough cohesion and are healthy for the playoffs, as long as the Sixers make the playoffs. We saw it this year in the NBA. In the NBA Finals. As what were they, an 8 or 9 seed? The Lakers were 7 or 8 seed. They made the Western Conference Finals. So you can make runs in the playoffs if you have a great team that's healthy once you get to the playoffs. And the Heat did it, missing Tyler Hero for a round or two. The Heat did it without multiple superstars. So what I'm saying is, you get me 3 superstars in here. I want the payoff to the process. That's kind of what I talk about. I mean, the process is over. The process wasn't about winning. I'm very firmly on that. The process is not about winning titles. It was acquiring assets to get you the stars to eventually win a title. But I still want the payoff to the process. The payoff is the championship. It's a parade down Broad Street. It's about doing a live show as soon as the clock hits 0 right here on Philadelphia Sportsnet, being like, we're the NBA freaking champions. That's the payoff to me for the process. That's a payoff for me watching so many games during the 10-win season years back. So that puts us in a better position for that next year. Now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, we're at probably. But we've seen it with the Eagles. We've seen it with the Phillies. You can turn teams around quickly in sports. Look at the Rams. They went all in, got Jared Goff, got to a Super Bowl. It didn't work out. They blew it up. They went all in again 2 years later, win a Super Bowl. You can reshape. Sorry, I saw shake in the comments. Shape a team pretty fast if you got smart GMs and creative GMs. Shake Milton is gone. I said it already, and I want him to be gone because I want to see what Shake's capable of on a team that gives him 25 minutes a game every single game. He's a good player. He's not a great player. He's a good player on a good team. He's an average at best player on a championship team. We deserve a payoff. The NBA tampering with our rebuild left a bit. Exactly. So Eric, we deserve the payoff. So go get Paul George or Kawhi Leonard. You guys know the ones, Anthony, you're not here every day in the comments, but for those Eric and some of the ones that are here every day, they know I want Kawhi Leonard. Go do it. The only thing is now, you do need depth on this team still. You're going to have to include Tobias Harris, which is your biggest asset to grab depth on this team. So you lose that depth, issue there. Yeah, I saw this, Mad Chatter. We'll tackle this Friday, All Football Friday. If the Sixers make a trade draft night, there'll be a little bit of Sixers talk on All Football Friday. But I got Zach Chavalella from Philadelphia Sports Network, one of the lead writers, joining me on Friday for football talk, maybe a little NBA draft talk, depending on what happens. But we'll cover this. That's crazy. We'll see. I'll let the story unfold till Friday to see, to formulate an opinion. How many games are you getting from Kawhi? He plays 60 games. I'm happy. Because all I'm letting Joel play is 60 games next year. All I'm letting James Harden play is 60 games next year. I want him healthy and fresh for the playoffs. That's all I care about. All I care about. Tobias Harris, you lose that value in these trades for Kawhi or Paul George because you need his contract to make it work. You know, the rumor was somebody with a fake account yesterday tweeted out that Tobias had been traded to the Pacers for Buddy Hield, TJ McConnell, and a late first-round pick. I don't understand why all the Sixers fans want a pick this year. It's not like they're getting the first, second, or third pick. There's so many Sixers that want the fans that want them to trade for a 28th pick, a 30th pick, a second-round pick. I don't care. Like, the draft picks are nice. You've got Springer. You've got McDaniels. You might have Paul Reed. You've got some young players on this team. You got that Lewis King or whatever from the Blue Coats. You got some young players. Let Nick Nurse develop those guys. Bring in some undrafted free agents after the draft's over. Let him get his hands into those guys. I don't care about draft picks this year. Like, that's old Sixers mentality, like or Eagles or whatever. Like, we don't need draft picks. We need to win an NBA title this year. And again, with what's going on in Milwaukee, what's going on in Boston, what could go on in Miami now that they lost again. The time is there. The window's open. Go get that title. I feel like Leonard is a shot player. I'd rather Jaylen Brown over Paul George. Yeah, I mean, again, give me any three of them, Eric. Give us the best chance to win that title. And if it means losing Tyrese Maxey, it breaks my heart. I love Tyrese Maxey. Max Money Maxey, I was calling him this year. I'd hate to say it, but I want that payoff. I want that championship because they saw ceiling, want something to look forward to. Yeah, I mean, I don't care about 5 years from now. I really don't. I care about this year, next year. That's it. That is what I want. What's up with Murray rumor from Hawks? Man. DeJounte Murray, man. Him or Trae Young's get traded. I said as soon as that trade went and he went to the Hawks, I said that Murray-Trae Young duo wasn't going to work. The problem with Murray is basically Ben Simmons with more heart and the willingness to shoot. But I don't know what his numbers look like this year. But in San Antonio, he wasn't a high percentage shooter. You need somebody that could shoot. You need a point guard. You need a scorer. You need a guy that can knock down threes. You need a guy that's not afraid. And Murray's not afraid, but let me look up Murray's numbers real quick because I want to say he's not a great shooter at percent-wise. I want to see his numbers. Maybe he got better in Atlanta this year, but maybe not. He shot 34%. It was just, he went from 31% to 34% this year and got his overall field goal percentage up to .464. But his career is a 33% three-point shooter. I need somebody a little bit better than that in the three-point game, the long-range game. But, geez, if you get him for the right price, bring him here. The thing that really, when you brought up his name that broke my heart, it's one of the almost. Because there were rumors on the table that Ben Simmons was going to get traded to Sacramento for Haliburton, and I was like, bring Haliburton here in a heartbeat. There were rumors that Ben Simmons was going to get traded to San Antonio to be for Murray. And I'm like, do it. And then it didn't happen. So our team ran out of gas. Exactly. McDermott, best coach ever, but on hot seat because he can't get to AFC Championship. Yeah, I mean that's an All Football Friday comment, but yeah, it is all about rings. Sports analysts going to tell you to go slow. That's wrong. No, it's not. It's not right. I mean, it is wrong. Yeah, exactly. Sorry. Words not coming out right there. It is wrong. When there's a window, when that window opens, the burglar is going to go right through it. You leave your door open at night, the burglar is going to come right through. The door is open for a championship window for the Sixers. And again, I apologized yesterday for it. I've been saying, buying into this narrative that we got to stop worrying about Joel Embiid's championship window. That's the wrong mentality. And I said it yesterday. I apologize for thinking it before yesterday. But no, you're going to maximize this window. You want that payoff for the championship. So you do it. You bring, look, James Harden coming back here, team-friendly deal, max deal, whatever it may be, is not the best for this team long-term. And say what you want that he came up small in Game 6 and 7 of the NBA semifinals against Boston. He did. There's no way around that. But James Harden averaged almost 22 points a game, almost 11 assists a game, 6 or 7 rebounds a game, over a steal. James Harden played at a near MVP level last year. People don't because of Game 6 and Game 7 against Boston, everyone forgets about the rest of the season James Harden had. He was, in my mind, if I had an MVP vote, he would have been in my top 10 list of MVP. Maybe like 8, 9, 10, somewhere in that range. He had that damn good of a season last year. Just came up small in Game 6 and Game 7 of the NBA playoffs. And that's what everybody remembers, recency bias. So if you can get James Harden, that's another question. We could pick it up again tomorrow. We're 10 minutes left in the show today. But what does a team-friendly deal look like from James Harden? Because that's the rumors, that he's going to sign a team-friendly deal sooner rather than later. It was all smoke, Houston. I said it from day one that the Houston thing, why would he want to go back to Houston? It was all smoke. Ben Simmons, body and potential of LeBron, but he'd rather be Boris Diaw. I love it. I love it. I love that comparison right there. Window was last 3 years. After Milwaukee got bounced, I really felt like this year was wide open. Window is smaller by the year. I agree with you, Anthony. The window's shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. So you've got an opportunity right now. You've got an opportunity right now. So go all in. If it means losing Maxey for the next 5 to 10 years, but just let me just phrase it this way, Anthony, and to everybody watching. Again, make sure you're smashing that like button as we get close to wrapping up. Kyle, what's happening, my man? Got to get you back on to talk Phillies with me here in the coming weeks. And yes, Kyle, Eric's comment is hilarious. I love it. It wins. I'm going to start a thing. I'm going to do the comment of the day, and I'm going to screenshot it, put it on Twitter. I think that's going to be one of my new features here. And Eric, that would be the comment of the day. But if I can guarantee you're playing in the NBA Finals, not winning the Finals, guarantee you an appearance in the NBA Finals, and it costs you Tyrese Maxey to get whoever, whether it's Kawhi Leonard, Jaylen Brown, Paul George, whoever, you're guaranteed an NBA Finals appearance, and then we'll just see what happens in the NBA Finals. But you got to give up Tyrese Maxey to do that. Would you do that? Absolutely. If I'm getting a chance in the NBA Finals, and you remember what this city was like during the World Series run, during all the Super Bowl runs the Eagles have made the last couple of years? Dude, I'm all in. I'll worry about finding the next Tyrese Maxey 3 years from now. I don't care. I'm doing it. I want that NBA Finals appearance right now. I think Kyle's on board with me, too. We got multiple Kyles in the comment section right now. You want that championship window. It's not a lock to win the finals. It's a lock to get to the finals. And yes, it's a stone cold lock. Give me a hell yeah. That was not as good as my $1 Million Man laugh from yesterday. Hell, give me a hell. I can't even think in my head how to get. Anthony, you weren't here yesterday. I was doing a really great $1 Million Man impersonation. So I figured I was going to try to get somebody else mixed in here today for him. Yeah, that stone cold didn't work. Not at all. But yeah, I still don't even know. Like, I'm still curious what this James Harden team-friendly deal will look like. Like I suggested earlier this. Yeah, I don't need to get hyped, to Kyle. I stay hyped. I'm always ready. I don't have to get ready in the morning. I'm just ready. I can roll out of bed, hit go live, let it roll. I don't need to get ready. I don't need prep. I don't want to steal someone else's notes because I'll get another DM, someone else's idea. But I'm Mr. No Notes. I don't need notes. I take notes, but I don't need them. What does a James Harden team-friendly deal? I suggested a few days ago and a week ago, whatever. Like, I'd be okay if they gave him a 3-year, $100 million contract. 33 a year, whatever. 2 years, $90 million with a team option for year 3. I mean, I know we're talking big dollars a year, but it works. Oh, you like it when I post Twitter hate. Well, good for you, Mad Hatter, because I still got the picture. Mr. Honey Bunnies, if you're watching, make sure you like the video, Mr. Honey Bunnies. I am, for those that don't know, but everybody knows because I post it every day on the show. I'm the reason that people think around the world that Philadelphia fans are a-holes. It's my fault. My fault. So, yes, I will always have that picture. click, ready to go because, I love to throw that out there whenever I can. So I thought long and hard, and I come to the conclusion that the best James Harden team-friendly deal is him cleaning out his locker and never coming back. That is a recency biased opinion, Eric. It is. Like, I've come to the agreement or the understanding that for next year's championship window to stay open, you're not going to replace James Harden with anything better. The team just doesn't have the ability to get a better point guard. Maxey can't be your point guard next year. Fred VanVleet at $30-some million a year is not better than James Harden at $30-some million a year. He's just not. Maybe big picture some of these things are, but next year it's not. Like, I get why everybody is down on James Harden. I do. But he's better than we give him credit for. He played at a near MVP level last year. He did. It is all my fault. Kyle, you know that. I did bet Justin Sue this week to win the Travelers Championship, Kyle, just so you know. I think I got him at 250 to 1, 150 to 1. Let me go back to my golf notes here. Where are my golf notes for this week? Who did I bet? Yeah, nope, that was U.S. Open notes. There's this week's notes. Justin Sue, 150 to 1. Yeah, that's right. I overrate Maxey. I don't know about that. Scottie Pippen, more P.J. Armstrong. And we're just pulling out all the old names here today. Look. Backtrack for a second. Again, I'm not saying I'm in love with the idea of James Harden coming back, but I understand the reason why. And if you're going to move Maxey to go get Paul George, Jaylen Brown, Kawhi Leonard, any superstar name out there, you need another. You're going to need a point guard. I mean, if you don't, Eric, just to back to you for a second here. If you want him to leave, who's run the point next year? Like, again, Eric, I think you were sort of on the same page with me in accepting the pause year. But nobody wants the pause year. So I'm going all in on the championship window. Harden brings you that championship or leaves that championship window open. Harden is LA Lakers Ron Harper at best going forward. So what's your better – like, if you're not willing to give James Harden a 3-year, $100 million deal, 2-year deal, $80, $90 million, give me a better option at point guard that's available that you can actually bring in here. That's the thing. Like, there are no better options unless you're willing to take – we've been talking today about that championship window being open, but the window isn't going to be open it's either step back or go all in. James Harden helps you go all in. James Harden does not, fit in and step back. Get a point. And Anthony, again, tell me which point guard you're going to be able to afford to bring in here via trade, via free, but via anything. Just find me somebody that's going to give you 21, 11, and 6. 60 games a year. Find me that guy. If you could find me that guy, then I could get off of the James. Like, again, I don't want James Harden here. I get it. But, oh, okay, you're saying get Paul George and Leonard and bring Seth Curry. Yeah, so it didn't work in L.A., so let's just bring him here. Zach chiming in. The team is certainly better with Harden, but Maxey is capable. See, I don't know if Tyrese Maxey is capable of being a point guard. I don't know. Like, that is something that I'm just not sure about. That's a tough. We can wait for the Wizards to buy out. I don't know about you. Do we really want Paul? Do we really want Chris Paul III, 38-year-old Chris Paul? I mean, we just talked about Kawhi not playing enough games. We talk about Paul George not playing enough games. We talk about James Harden. Chris Paul don't play a lot of games either. It's okay, Anthony. I don't judge bad typing. As long as you don't judge my bad pronunciation of names, or when I say the name wrong or whatnot, I won't judge you for bad typing. We get the point out eventually. There's just so many comments rolling in. You just got to you can't wait to get your next comment in. So you're rushing your time. It's okay. I get to everybody's comments because that's what this show is about. Your comments. That's all we care about. I don't know if Chris Paul is the answer. And I'm back here on Zach's comment here. They're better with Harden, but I just don't know if Maxey's a point guard. Maybe under Nick Nurse, he could be. Maybe Nick Nurse can unlock something. And that's the bottom line. Because This guy said so. I'm assuming you're hating on Philly Rob. Kyle, I actually tried to give Philly Rob a benefit of a doubt, Topper the benefit of the doubt, because his weird decision making works out 8 out of 10 times. Just last night, his weird decision cost us the game. I spent more time today in the first half talking why last night proves why you need Paul Goldschmidt. And as long as it doesn't cost you Andrew Painter, I'll give away any other 2, 3, 4 prospects that the Cardinals want for him, because that to me is the answer. He has the skill set, just doesn't use it. Nick Nurse and Rico Hines are also strong guard developers. All right. But see, again, this gets into the conversation, Zach, of what are we looking at? Are we looking to win a title next year? Or are we looking at the next 3-year big picture window? And I don't know where this team's going to be in 3 years. I'm all in right now. I want this window to be maximized right now. And Zach, I don't know if you were in the conversation here when I said this. I said it before. If you have to trade Tyrese Maxey, but it gives you a guaranteed lock to make the finals, not win the finals, lock to make the finals, or a 98% chance to make the finals, would you make a move for a star to pair with Harden and Embiid? You go get another star. And again, it goes into the conversation of whether stars, you need 3 stars to win anyway in the NBA, which I think is debatable in and of itself. But going all in, get yourself to the finals, and then you worry about 3 years down the line, I don't know. I think it's an interesting conversation. I think it's an interesting point. And you are risking a lot by giving up Tyrese Maxey. You're risking a lot of the future of this team. I just want that NBA championship. I'm greedy. I want that run to the finals. Philly Rob, thank you. Finally. I know you don't know who he even is, but he did. It does stink. I will not be streaming live from Fox's Pizza today. I got to do all my finish my golf work. Got to put all my golf lineups in and stuff like that. Holy crap, we just streamed right past the hour mark here. We're at 1 hour and 2 minutes, and I didn't even know. So now comes the point where I try to wrap up the show, and like 50 more comments come rolling in because everybody wants to get their last thoughts in. But we are going to try to wrap up the show here. Tomorrow, Regina Ham, Philadelphia Sports Network lead writer, covers the Phillies, will be joining me. We'll talk more Phillies with her tomorrow about, more of this Brave series, what happens tonight, etc. We already got 2 minutes of bonus time, and no one dropped the $500 super chat, and no bonus time. So, because that's what I do. I'm here for you guys. So again, we're gonna wrap it up. We got Regina Ham joining us tomorrow. She was on the show a couple weeks back. Great girl. Does a great job covering the Phillies for PSN. So she'll be talking Phillies with us tomorrow. Zach in the comment section, just messaged me before the show went live about wanting to come on Friday. So we might have Zach on the show on Friday talking all football, NBA draft, all different things going on. OT, baby. That's right, I'm baby. See, there's my wrestling, impersonation. That's right. Phil Stiefel, baby. Boom. That's about it. That's all I got right there on that one. But we'll wrap it up right here. Trending in the AM on Philadelphia Sports Network, where your opinions actually matter. Make sure you like the video, share it out, subscribe, shout it from the rooftops. Tell everybody this is the #1 sports morning show in the Philadelphia area, the first daily YouTube show in Philly, and the only show, TV, radio, anywhere, where your opinions actually matter. It was not a Chris Jericho. Baby! That's my Adam Cole, baby! Impersonation right there. Everybody have a great day. It's the first day of summer. Get out. I don't know about you. It might rain today. It's a little cloudy for the first day of summer. But, it is what it is. Let's wrap it up for the day. Let's ring that bell. Let's go out and get a W tonight. Aaron Nola on the mound for the Phillies. Let's get a W. Give me something to build off of Aaron Nola, please. We'll be back tomorrow. Regina Ham, 8:30 a.m. right here, Philadelphia Sports Network. See you guys tomorrow.